everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Bunny, and in this video we're going to be doing the Draw This Again challenge. Now I've got this not so pretty lady that I did probably in 2014 or 2015. It was a long time ago, and I did primarily watercolor at that point and a little bit of the Polychromos pencil crayons, and I'm actually looking forward to trying to draw this again and see where my style changed and also the technique that I'm using now to see how everything has changed. So we're gonna do this, and I hope you guys like the video. As always, don't forget to subscribe and like my social media, Facebook, Instagram. I post all of my stuff on there, and yeah, I greatly appreciate your support, and yeah, let's get started. So when I first started sketching, I actually thought to myself, okay, this time around, what am I going to be doing differently as I normally do? And I decided to just sketch without a reference photo, and actually this came kind of naturally, and I was quite surprised by it because I've been working really hard at learning anatomy and learning how to draw faces for the better part of 2017. And this time around, when I recreated this portrait, I decided to use my 2014 version as a reference photo. And you know, the 2014 version is not as great. It looks really bad. The proportions are out of whack. But I decided to just kind of play a game where I would use this as a reference photo and kind of build upon the original portrait. And this is something that is kind of the one of the first things, or the first times that I'm really doing this, and I've been doing this for the past couple months, and it's been a really great feeling knowing that I've progressed to this level where I don't really necessarily need to survive or to rely on, you know, drawing books and or reference photos. So this is a huge difference that I've noticed within the past, you know, like the 3-year progression already. So I'm quite happy about that. Okay, so I'm just waiting for it to dry. I like to work in steps, and by that I mean like I start with the face and then the hair, and I just go step by step. I think logically you can do like put a flat wash down for the entire first layer and then work on the second layer. Artists do different things at different times. I think in this case I want to kind of readjust her body a little bit before I progress with the coloring job of her chest and her neck area. So I'm just waiting for the color to dry before I start really erasing again and kind of reworking things, just because I don't want any like eraser shavings to go into the actual wet paint. Now, kind of word of advice, just a little bit of a tip: if you guys are using this paper, the ROWNEY, just note that it is not watercolor paper. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it is mixed media. So something that I've learned very quickly is if you're using this paper to do a watercolor painting that is together with mixed media, but primarily watercolor, you don't want to apply too many layers of water just because it is not absorbent as a watercolor paper. So I like to apply at least maybe maximum 3 or 4 layers, and when I use my paintbrush with the water, I don't put a lot of water. Like I make sure to kind of drain the paintbrush before I apply it on the paper itself. And the reason why is because the paper will become kind of, at a certain point it will become hard to draw on top. If it's a little bit damp, the paper is gonna rip, the threads of the paper are gonna rip, and also it will become kind of wavy, which is usual if you're using watercolor and water together on paper. But this paper is really not meant for that extensive amount of water. So try to keep it at a minimum, guys. But yeah, this paper is beautiful for the type of work that I like to do, and it works really great. Another aspect of what I really learned was actually not being afraid of mixing my watercolor colors together. Previously, back in 2014, if we take a look at the really old portrait, you're going to see that the colors that I used, although they were still Schmincke, the watercolor brand, I actually did not dilute them. I did not mix them with other tones, and in fact I just used the original color, and it turned out to look more like a highlighter kind of version of the color, and it didn't really give a good overall tone of the portrait itself. So for example, the hair, it looks a little bit highlighter yellow, and the flowers and the background, of course, it's like really turquoise and it's really popping, and everything kind of like fights against each other. And I think that over the 3 years, I've really learned how to mix in my different colors together to achieve a different sort of look, a more realistic look, a more diluted look. And yeah, it's just something that I never really realized that I started to do. It was just more so a natural progression of getting so familiar with watercolor and how to use them. Now, in terms of the background, you're going to see that I did something completely different than my previous 2014 version. It is sort of similar in a way that there's floral work and there's sort of like a blue background, and there's still the pink flower in the bottom right-hand corner. I did want to just kind of improve. Way back when, in 2014, when I did this portrait, I didn't really know much about colors. I didn't know how to put things together, and I just kind of put a bunch of floral things all around the portrait, and it didn't necessarily look that great. And this time around, I wanted to have more of a focus on the portrait itself, and then just add, instead of really strong floral contrast of pink, green, and blue, I wanted to just add very subtle white gouache colored, or I should just say white colored flowers made with gouache paint around her head, and just kind of pay a tribute to the old portrait in a way, but really minimize the colors. Overall, I'm quite happy with how the portrait turned out. It is a definite improvement from the 2014 version, and I'm actually a little bit shocked of how much I've learned, and I'm really looking forward to the future to learning a lot more. Of course, this portrait, there's got some flaws, as usual. The eyes could have been done better, maybe the mouth could have been done better, but overall, guys, you really have to be proud of your progression and not really dwell on the mistakes and dwell on the issues that you're seeing, because in about a half a year's time or a year's time, these issues will no longer be an issue because you would have learned so much. So guys, stay true to yourselves, keep drawing, keep being awesome, and thank you guys so much for watching this this speed painting, or this video, I should say, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. So bye!